It was 6:17 a.m. when the flatbed roared into Maple Grove Estates, its diesel growl shattering the suburban hush. A decommissioned M113 armored personnel carrier, all 12 tons of it, squatted on the trailer, its olive-drab bulk catching the first rays of dawn. The driver, a wiry man with a toothpick dangling from his lip, gave me a nod as he unhitched the beast in my driveway. My neighbor's curtains twitched eyes peering, whispers brewing. This wasn't just a vehicle. This was a declaration of war. My name's Ethan Caldwell, and I didn't start this fight. It began with a dent, a fist-sized blemish on my Honda's rear bumper, courtesy of a runaway shopping cart at the local food mart. A minor imperfection, barely worth a second glance. But in Maple Grove, where lawns are manicured to military precision and mailboxes gleam like trophies, that dent was a felony. The HOA, led by the iron-fisted Vi VY and Hartwell, didn't just notice. They pounced. Vi VYN, a woman who wore her authority like a crown of thorns, had ruled Maple Grove for 3 years, her clipboard a scepter, her emails a guillotine. When the certified letter arrived printed in an absurdly cheery Arial font, it cited Article 7, Section 4, Vehicular Aesthetics of the Community Covenant. My dent, it claimed, was a blight on the neighborhood's soul, a DULA 100 fine slapped on for undermining property values. Pay within 5 days, or they'd escalate to a lien. I chuckled at first, imagining Vi VY and typing this drivel while stroking her teacup Yorkie, Muffin. But the threat was real, and so was the deadline. I tried reasoning. I called Vi VY and left voicemails, even cornered her at the community mailbox. It's booked for repair next week, I said, gesturing at the dent. It's a cart, not a crime. She tilted her head, her lips pursed like she'd bitten a lemon. Standards, mister. Caldwell. It's about standards. Her eyes flicked to my car, then to me, as if I, too, were a smudge on her perfect canvas. That's when I knew this wasn't about the dent. It was about control. Maple Grove wasn't always a battlefield. When Clara and I moved in 5 years ago, it was a quiet enclave, kids on bikes, barbecues on weekends, a place where you could leave your garage open without a second thought. But Vi VY's rise changed everything. She turned the HOA into her personal fiefdom, her Tuesday 9 a.m. meetings time to exclude anyone with a job. Her beautification initiatives, gaudy rose trellises, solar-powered flamingo statues sprang up overnight, funded by fines she doled out like a medieval tax collector. A chipped mailbox? Dola namui. A basketball hoop left out? Dola by muilam. She fined old Mr. Delaney for his American flag because it clashed with the color scheme. When I saw her Prius parked across 2 spaces at the community pool, untouched by her own rules, I realized Vi VY wasn't just strict. She was a hypocrite. Within a week, 4 neighbors got hit. Sarah Nguyen for a scratched fender, Tom Rivera for a faded license plate, even Ellen Brooks for parking too diagonally. Vi VY's clipboard patrols became a daily ritual, her heels clicking down sidewalks as she hunted imperfections. Complaints? They vanished into the void of her inbox. Appeals? Denied with a form letter. I sent her photos of my repair booking, a notarized statement from the food mart manager, even a polite letter. She rejected it all in 17 minutes flat. No exceptions, she wrote. Precedent matters. Clara, who'd always steered clear of HOA drama, saw the steam rising from my ears. It's a dent, Ethan. Pay the fine and move on. But it wasn't just the dent anymore. It was Vi VY and smugness, her glee at catching us in her net. I started digging. The HOA bylaws, a 47-page tome of legalese, were a goldmine of contradictions. Article 7 demanded pristine vehicles, but Article 12 allowed restoration projects with permits. Vi VY's fines ignored half the rules she swore to uphold. I printed the bylaws, highlighted the hypocrisy, and slipped copies into every mailbox on our street. By noon, Vi VY retaliated. A DULA 60 fine for my lawn's uneven edging, and another DULA 40 for inflammatory correspondence. Clara laughed, pouring me a coffee. We're Lee VYing in a gated soap opera. I wasn't laughing. This was personal now. At the next coffee and community meeting, I brought a laptop and a plan. The room smelled of burnt Folgers and desperation, neighbors fidgeting under Vivian's gaze. She droned about new petunia beds while I queued up my slides. When she opened the floor, I stood. Maple Grove's losing something, I said, clicking to a graph of fines over time. Reason. The screen showed Vivian's penalties spiking with every pet project. Due law $3,000 for a found nobody wanted. Due law $1,200 for festive wind chimes. This isn't a neighborhood. It's a fundraiser. Snickers rippled through the room. Vivian's face reddened, her gavel smacking the table like a petulant child. Order, she barked. This is belligerence. That night, a handwritten note appeared under my door. Dulaw 75 for undermining board authority. I framed it. Vivian wasn't just bending rules, she was forging them. Reason was dead, and she was the executioner. I needed something bigger, something to shake her throne. That's when I found it. A surplus auction site, pages of decommissioned military gear. Tanks, jeeps, armored carriers. My cursor hovered over an M113, a Cold War relic with no weapons but plenty of attitude. I didn't want revenge. I wanted a reckoning. 3 weeks later, the M113 christened Liberty rolled in. I'd cleared the red tape. Registered, insured, street legal. It wasn't a tank, not technically, but its tracks and slab-sided hull screamed defiance. I parked it dead center in my driveway, my Honda tucked away in the garage. At 7:03 a.m., Vivian stormed over, her robe flapping, clipboard trembling. "This is outrageous," she shrieked, her voice cracking like thin ice. "It's HOA violation. Remove it now." I leaned against Liberty, sipping coffee. Restoration project, Article 12, footnote 5. It's legal, Vivian. Cleaner than your Prius, too. Tom Rivera, watering his lawn, choked on a laugh. Sarah Nguyen snapped a photo. Vivian didn't back down. She called an emergency meeting, dragging her husband, Greg, a man who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. 3 board members showed up, 2 taking selfies with Liberty instead of listening. Vivian waved the county inspector's card like a trump card, but when he arrived, he shrugged. "It's compliant," he said, then asked if his daughter could see inside. Vivian pivoted to safety concerns, claiming kids might start riots. I offered a do not climb sign. She didn't laugh. The neighborhood shifted. Vivian's Unity Walk, a pastel-drenched PR stunt, crumbled when half the family skipped her speech to gawk at Liberty. Kids tied streamers to its antennas. A retiree vet, Mr. Callahan, saluted it, sharing stories of his time in Vietnam. Vivian tried to find his Sarah VYC dog for excessive barking. The dog yawned. Her newsletter, Presser VY Ing Harmony, ranted about militaristic monstrosities, complete with a photoshopped image of Liberty firing missiles. I pinned it to the hull with a magnet. "Nice art," I said when she glared. Social media caught fire. Sarah's photo hit Reddit. HOA versus Tank, round 1. The Liberty Gate trended. Neighbors set up lawn chairs, swapping stories of Vivian's tyranny fines for holiday lights, for unapproved birdhouses. Vivian's cease and desist letter, citing vehicular intimidation, arrived on embossed stationery. I wrote back, "Not intimidation. Liberation." Clara framed that one, too. Vivian doubled down, ordering a tow. A flatbed arrived, driven by a guy who looked like he'd seen it all. He eyed Liberty, then Vivian's frantic wah vying of a self-drafted removal order. I handed him the bylaws. "Restoration clause," I said. He grinned. "Can't tow freedom, lady." He drove off. Vivian's next move was a county complaint, but it backfired. Inspectors didn't just check Liberty, they audited her fines. They found a paper trail of chaos. Unapproved citations, signatures forged, Dulaw 2000 siphoned for board retreats to Napa, Dulaw 400 for muffins, therapeutic grooming. Vivian's PayPal had been skimming beautification funds for years. The reckoning came at a packed rec center meeting. VY and slideshow vehicles of discord flopped when slide 4 showed me flipping burgers by Liberty. Caption defiance. Greg stood, voice shaking. I didn't sign those fines. I just mowed the lawn. Neighbors shared their own stories. Fines for flags, for sprinklers, for existing. Auditors dropped the bomb. VY faced fraud charges. She screamed conspiracy, but the board slunk away. I leaned back. Liberty rests its case. The fallout was swift. News outlets ran headlines. Tank topples, HOA tyrant. VY's emails were subpoenaed, her accounts frozen. Then came the leak. Tom, our resident IT guy, found her digital fingerprints emails to a developer, Crestwood Properties, plotting to sell Maple Grove for condos. She'd ranked us, me as troublemaker the 3, then Gwyn's as sellable. Her payout? Dula $250,000 in a Scottsdale condo. At a final meeting, Tom projected her emails, promises of luxury lofts, a Whole Foods VYB. VY stammered. Context. Greg walked out. The room erupted in applause as we voted 81 Fantram to oust her. VY tried to flee to another HOA, but our leak followed her. Crestwood bailed, citing misrepresentation. She vanished to a rental downtown, muffin in tow. Maple Grove healed. A new board, led by Sarah, rewrote the bylaws. Liberty became a landmark, painted with murals of doves and flags. We turned VY's old house into a community hub at Lux. MOVYE nights, no fines. At our first parade, Liberty led, kids tossing confetti from its hatch. My Honda's Dent? Fixed months ago. But Liberty's legacy joy, not fear, rolled on. If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this VY Deo with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next VY Deo.